they're very different people. Although Wade Wilson is, in fact, what I love about this version is that Wade Wilson is still incredibly mouthy. You'll definitely get some of that, you know, you get some of that acerbic kind of...
Breaking updates, very important. There's a reason why the public has shifted from being a little skeptical of Justin Baldoni to basically just rooting outright for Justin Baldoni at this point. If you can't avoid this movie, you absolutely should, because it's absolute trash. I know some people like this movie. Some people are stupid.
Particularly a part about Ryan Reynolds, but let's go through, I can sort of summarize and tell you some insight as to what this all means.
Hollywood is no stranger to behind-the-scenes drama, but this one might just blow everything else out of the water. Did Ryan Reynolds take a secret shot at Justin Baldoni in Deadpool and Wolverine? Did Ben Shapiro just expose Reynolds' comedy as stale and overused? And is Blake Lively actually the real power player, influencing entire movie productions from behind the curtain? These are the questions that have set social media on fire, with shocking claims that Reynolds, Lively, and even Taylor Swift allegedly pressured Baldoni into changing a movie's direction, a move that some say led to a petty revenge cameo in one of the biggest superhero films of the year. It sounds unbelievable, but the evidence is stacking up, and what we found might just change how you see these A-listers forever. Stick around, because this Hollywood power struggle is deeper than anyone realized. To understand how Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, Taylor Swift, and Justin Baldoni got tangled in one of Hollywood's biggest controversies, we need to break down who they are and how their worlds collided. First, there's Ryan Reynolds, one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, known for his quick wit, sarcastic charm, and a strong creative presence in the films he stars in. Whether it's Deadpool, Free Guy, or The Adam Project, Reynolds has built a reputation for injecting his own style into the movies he works on. Then we have Blake Lively, actress and Reynolds' wife, who has been in the industry for over 2 decades. Though best known for Gossip Girl and roles in films like A Simple Favor, Lively has also been making waves behind the scenes, with reports suggesting she's far more involved in the creative process of films than many realize. Next is Justin Baldoni, actor turned director, recognized for helming films like 5 Feet Apart and Clouds. Baldoni is known for his emotional storytelling and director-driven approach to filmmaking, something that may have put him at odds with Reynolds and Lively. And finally, there's Taylor Swift, one of the most powerful figures in the music industry, who also has strong ties to both Reynolds and Lively. Swift is known for exercising control over her work and has a history of navigating complex industry dynamics to her advantage. So how did these 4 end up in a messy Hollywood power struggle? It all started with allegations that Reynolds, Lively, and Swift pressured Baldoni into making significant changes to a movie script. Reports claim that Lively and Swift had strong opinions about the film's direction, and that Reynolds, using his influence, pushed Baldoni to comply. Whether it was about tone, dialogue, or overall vision, sources suggest Baldoni found himself in a difficult position, trying to balance his creative control against the pressure from 3 of the industry's biggest names. Then there's the nice pool controversy. In Deadpool and Wolverine, a suspiciously familiar character appears, one that fans immediately pointed out bears a striking resemblance to Baldoni. From the way he looks to the way he speaks, people couldn't help but speculate. Was this an inside joke at Baldoni's expense? If true, it would mean Reynolds used one of the biggest superhero films of the year to take a shot at a director he clashed with.
By attacking him and trying to wreck him, because she apparently was at one point in a room with her, Ryan Reynolds, and Taylor Swift trying to bully Justin Baldoni to make changes to the script for this movie.
To add fuel to the fire, Ben Shapiro made fun of Reynolds' comedic style, calling it repetitive, predictable, and overused. He claimed that Deadpool and Wolverine was nothing more than the same joke over and over, and that Reynolds' ad-libbing was dragging movies down. Shapiro's comments only intensified the debate. Is Reynolds' signature humor becoming stale? And did he really cross a line with Baldoni? With multiple layers to this controversy, the deeper we dig, the more Hollywood's power struggles start to come to light. What started as whispers from industry insiders quickly turned into a full-blown firestorm, with new allegations emerging about power moves, creative clashes, and even a subtle act of revenge on the big screen. The first sign of trouble came when reports surfaced that Blake Lively and Taylor Swift sat down with Justin Baldoni to discuss changes to a movie script. While actors giving feedback isn't unheard of, sources claim this meeting felt different. It wasn't just input, it was pressure. According to multiple accounts, Lively and Swift had specific ideas about the film's direction, and Baldoni found himself in the uncomfortable position of defending his creative vision against two of the most powerful women in the entertainment industry. Some sources claim that they wanted lighter, more comedic elements, while others say they were pushing for a more dramatic shift. Either way, Baldoni was reportedly hesitant to make those changes. Then there's the question of Ryan Reynolds' involvement. Given his history of influencing projects, many believe he used his influence to back Lively and Swift's demands. Reynolds is known for exerting creative control over his films, especially in franchises like Deadpool, where he has a direct hand in shaping the final product. Could he have applied similar pressure on Baldoni? Some reports suggest he sided with Lively and Swift, reinforcing the push for script revisions. The more details emerged, the more it started to look like Baldoni was being boxed in. He had his vision for the film, but with Reynolds, Lively, and Swift allegedly pulling in another direction, he may have felt cornered into compromising his work. But what happens when a director pushes back against Hollywood power players? That's where things get even more interesting. While the Baldoni controversy was unfolding, another wave of criticism hit Reynolds from an unexpected source: Ben Shapiro. Known for his blunt, no-holds-barred commentary, Shapiro didn't just criticize Deadpool and Wolverine, he tore it apart. He called the film too long, too repetitive, and too reliant on stale humor. In his words, it was nothing more than the same joke over and over, and he accused Reynolds of turning movies into personal projects rather than respecting the original script. Shapiro's biggest issue? He claimed Reynolds had become predictable, constantly breaking the fourth wall, improvising one-liners, and using the same comedic formula in every movie. In Shapiro's view, Deadpool and Wolverine wasn't just bad, it was proof that Reynolds' humor was getting old. And Shapiro wasn't alone. His critique ignited a debate across social media, with some agreeing that Reynolds relies too much on ad-libbed humor, while others defended him as one of the few actors keeping comedy alive in modern films. But one moment in Deadpool and Wolverine raised eyebrows even further, and it had nothing to do with Shapiro. As fans watched Deadpool and Wolverine, some noticed something strange: a new character named Nice Pool. At first glance, it seemed like just another quirky addition to the Deadpool universe. But the more people looked at Nice Pool, the more they started connecting the dots. The character's mannerisms, appearance, and even speech patterns seemed familiar. Fans quickly pointed out the resemblance to Justin Baldoni, who reportedly clashed with Reynolds, Lively, and Swift. Was this just a coincidence, or was Reynolds taking a shot at Baldoni? The speculation spread like wildfire. People began re-watching scenes, analyzing details, and asking whether Reynolds had used his biggest movie of the year to mock a director he had creative differences with. It wouldn't be the first time Deadpool movies included inside jokes and personal digs. Reynolds has a history of using his films to poke fun at industry figures. So when fans noticed the resemblance between Nice Pool and Baldoni, they didn't think it was accidental. But if this was a deliberate move, what was Reynolds trying to say? Was he calling Baldoni too soft, too agreeable, or too nice for Hollywood? Was this a response to their rumored conflict over the film? Theories flew in all directions, but Reynolds remained silent on the matter, neither confirming nor denying the speculation. And that's what made it even more suspicious. Because if the resemblance was purely coincidental, why not just say so? Instead, the silence only fueled more discussion. Was Reynolds getting back at Baldoni for refusing to play along with the power moves behind the scenes? With rumors swirling, Shapiro's criticisms spreading, and the Nice Pool controversy gaining traction, this wasn't just a one-off Hollywood dispute anymore. It had turned into a full-fledged media storm. And now, the biggest question remained: was there any fallout from all of this? The answer: absolutely. And the consequences were bigger than anyone expected. The whispers of tension behind the scenes escalated when reports emerged about a crucial meeting, one where Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Taylor Swift allegedly pressured Justin Baldoni into making changes to a film. At first, it seemed like a routine creative discussion, but insiders described it as something much more intense. Baldoni, known for his strong artistic vision, walked in expecting a conversation, only to find himself in a room with three of the most powerful figures in entertainment, each with their own agenda. Sources claim the discussion revolved around specific changes that Lively and Swift wanted to see in the film. While exact details remain unclear, multiple reports suggest they pushed for adjustments that would align more with their personal preferences, possibly altering the film's tone or shifting character dynamics. Baldoni, however, was not on board with these proposed revisions. The meeting grew increasingly tense as Lively and Swift continued to press the issue, and when Reynolds, who has built a reputation for having strong influence over his films, sided with them, Baldoni reportedly found himself in a difficult position. With three A-listers insisting on changes, Baldoni had little room to push back. Walking away from that meeting, it was clear he wasn't just dealing with creative differences. He was facing a power struggle that put his directorial authority on the line. Hollywood is no stranger to behind-the-scenes influence, but for a director, standing firm against actors with this level of pull can have serious consequences. It's one thing to defend a creative vision, but it's another to resist the collective weight of some of the biggest names in the industry. While this alleged meeting remained a topic of speculation, another piece of the puzzle surfaced, one that painted Blake Lively's role in an entirely new light. An old audio clip of Lively began circulating, in which she openly discussed her need to have control over the projects she works on. In the recording, she spoke about how simply acting in a film wasn't enough for her, that she had always pushed to be involved in writing, costume design, and the overall storytelling process. While some praised her for being an ambitious woman in an industry where female voices often struggle for power, others saw this as proof that she regularly oversteps her role on set. This led to a heated debate. Was Lively simply fighting for her voice to be heard, or was she a controlling presence who made it difficult for directors to maintain their vision? Fans were split. Some believed she had every right to shape the projects she worked on, while others argued that unless she was hired as a producer or writer, forcing creative influence was inappropriate. Her comments suddenly carried much more weight when placed in the context of the Baldoni controversy. If she had been this assertive in past projects, was it really a stretch to believe she had taken control behind the scenes once again? As this conversation continued, Ryan Reynolds found himself in the crosshairs of an entirely different controversy, one that didn't involve Hollywood power moves, but instead targeted the very foundation of his career. Enter Ben Shapiro, who launched one of the most scathing criticisms of Reynolds' work to date. In his review of Deadpool and Wolverine, Shapiro didn't just call the film bad, he called it an exhausting, repetitive mess filled with the same overused humor that Reynolds had been recycling for years. He was relentless in his critique, claiming that Reynolds' comedic style had become stale, that his constant ad-libbing was no longer fresh, and that the film felt like a never-ending string of fourth-wall-breaking jokes that all blurred together. According to Shapiro, Deadpool and Wolverine wasn't just a bad movie, it was proof that Reynolds had lost his touch. In his words, "Some people like this movie, some people are stupid." That single line sparked an explosion of reactions online. Fans of Deadpool immediately fired back, defending Reynolds as one of the few actors who had successfully carved out a comedic identity in modern Hollywood. But others, even those who enjoyed Reynolds' past work, admitted that Shapiro had a point. Was Reynolds really just playing the same character over and over? Had his humor reached a point where it was predictable rather than innovative? For Shapiro, this wasn't just about one film, it was about a larger problem. He accused Reynolds of turning his movies into personal projects, suggesting that his influence on set allowed him to steer films in directions that leaned too heavily on his own comedic style. This played directly into the ongoing discussion about whether Reynolds had too much power behind the scenes, especially in light of the allegations surrounding his involvement in the Baldoni controversy. Was Reynolds simply a strong creative force, or was he overstepping his boundaries, shaping films around himself rather than the original script? While the debate raged on, a new detail emerged that made everything even messier: the Deadpool and Wolverine character, Nice Pool. At first, it seemed like just another oddball addition to the Deadpool universe, but fans quickly started noticing something strange. The character looked and acted eerily similar to Justin Baldoni. His mannerisms, his soft-spoken tone, even his overall presence. Everything about Nice Pool felt like an inside joke. It didn't take long for speculation to explode. Had Reynolds used his biggest movie of the year to take a shot at Baldoni? If so, this wasn't just a playful nod. It was a very public jab at a director who allegedly refused to go along with Reynolds' and Lively's creative influence. Some fans dismissed it as a coincidence, but others weren't convinced. Given Reynolds' history of slipping personal references and inside jokes into his films, the idea that this was intentional wasn't far-fetched. What made the situation even more suspicious was Reynolds' silence. He didn't acknowledge the controversy, didn't comment on the growing discussions online, and didn't shut down the theory that Nice Pool was a parody of Baldoni. The lack of denial only fueled the speculation further. If it wasn't meant to be a dig, why not just say so? With so many layers to this unfolding drama, the situation had evolved into something far bigger than a simple disagreement over a film. It was now a full-fledged Hollywood power struggle, one that blurred the lines between personal relationships and professional decisions. Reynolds, Lively, Swift, and Baldoni had all become central figures in a controversy that touched on creative control, industry influence, and the limits of comedic expression in blockbuster films. As all of this played out, one question remained: would there be consequences? Or was this just another case of Hollywood drama that would fade as quickly as it appeared? The fallout was just beginning, and the industry was watching closely to see what would happen next. The controversy exploded across social media, drawing intense reactions from fans, critics, and even industry insiders. Ben Shapiro's brutal takedown of Deadpool and Wolverine sparked heated debates, with some agreeing that Reynolds' humor had become repetitive, while others defended him as one of the few actors keeping comedy alive in Hollywood. The divide was clear. Was Reynolds truly losing his edge? Or was this just another case of critics over-analyzing a successful formula? Meanwhile, the Baldoni controversy gained even more traction. The allegations that Reynolds, Lively, and Swift pressured Baldoni behind the scenes led to a broader discussion about the power dynamics in Hollywood. Some industry insiders suggested that actors and celebrities increasingly hold more sway than directors, raising concerns about whether true creative control still exists in major productions. But perhaps the most telling part of the aftermath was Reynolds' silence. Despite the growing speculation about Nice Pool being a dig at Baldoni, Reynolds has not addressed the claims. No denials, no clarifications, just complete silence. And as history has shown, when celebrities ignore a controversy, it often means the accusations aren't far from the truth. As the dust settles, one question remains: will this controversy hurt Ryan Reynolds' career? While he remains one of Hollywood's biggest stars, the backlash over Deadpool and Wolverine, especially criticism about his overused comedic style, raises concerns about whether audiences will eventually grow tired of his formula. If Reynolds continues relying on the same brand of humor, could his once-beloved persona start to feel stale and predictable? Then there's Justin Baldoni, who has remained noticeably quiet throughout this ordeal. With mounting speculation about the pressure he allegedly faced, the industry is watching closely to see if he will speak out or continue to take the high road. If DEADPOol was truly a jab at him, could this affect future collaborations? Would other directors think twice before working with Reynolds, fearing they might become the next punchline? And what about Blake Lively and Taylor Swift? If the claims about their behind-the-scenes influence hold weight, could this change how directors and studios approach projects involving them? With Hollywood already shifting towards celebrity-driven productions, are power moves like these becoming more common? And if so, who really controls the industry anymore? One thing is clear: this controversy isn't going away anytime soon. At the center of this entire controversy is a question that could reshape how audiences view one of Hollywood's most beloved figures. Is Ryan Reynolds truly the lovable star we think he is? Or is there a deeper story behind his success? One that involves industry influence, creative control, and behind-the-scenes power struggles. The allegations against Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Taylor Swift have sparked a massive debate, leaving fans divided. But we want to hear from you. What's your take on this entire situation? Let us know in the comments below. And if you love these deep dives into Hollywood scandals, make sure you hit that subscribe button.